I was born and raised in New Mexico.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay. Were you ever the person that wanted to leave, or did you consider like New Mexico to be it, like the home for good?
Um, I think ever since I was young, I pretty much have always felt pretty connected to New Mexico. I don't think I've ever envisioned leaving New Mexico unless like I've always thought if a job opportunity ever opened or if I could ever move to a place where there's lots of mountains.
Right, exactly. So, I mean, growing up in a place like this, can you remember your first real, like, serious hiking experience, whether it was a kid or when you got older? Do you remember that day?
I think the first experience I have as a young child, I was probably about 7 or 8, and we had gone to hike part of the Pine Loop Trail
Mhm.
on Aguita Springs. I actually look at the pictures. Even without the pictures, I can still remember that hike. But when I look at the pictures, it kind of brings me back some memories and kind of just going out as a family. I think that was probably the first time I was introduced to hiking with my family. And then my first big hike as an adult, I would say that was when I hiked up Mount Bierstadt in Colorado. And it's a funny story because it was before I even got into hiking. So when I look at how I hike now, when I look back at that first time, I hiked up with no hiking boots, just like regular running shoes. I only took one small, like maybe like 12-ounce water bottle with a purse. And when I have a picture that somebody sent me from that, and I'm like, wow, I've come a long way.
Well, I mean, one of my questions is from, like you said, you grew up here, you have family, memories of the family hiking and all. What are some of the big things that you've learned and experienced over time from, like you said, that first hike where you went in sneakers with a purse to now, what are some of the big things you've learned over the years as a hiker?
I think some of the things that I have really tried to evolve my mindset on is the importance of safety. I think before I was just going just like for the heck of it, just I want to go out hike. I don't care if I get injured, but now I do focus on that. I want to make sure I'm going to be safe. And while I'm being safe, just learning about my surroundings, learning who's hiking right behind me, what do I hear, even keeping an eye on the weather. Those are just things that are, I believe, critical and important while you're out hiking, especially because I do like to go hiking by myself. And so I think that that's also something very important. Just, I don't want anything to happen to me. Sometimes that goes through my mind, but I just try to be very aware as I can without letting fear get inside of me, hold me back from hiking.
You do social work, right?
I do.
How would you say your day job fits into hiking? Is it kind of a release for you? Is it, something that you bring to work with you, like lessons you learn out in nature? Like, how do you find those two things that come together?
So for me, I have always been a pretty active person. And by that, I just mean by being outdoors. I was never into sports. But I've always really connected with just being outdoors. And I would say probably like in the last maybe 7 to 8 years, that's when hiking really became more part of my life. And I would try to go hiking as often as I could. For example, when I'm at work and I see the weather and I'm like, oh, this is perfect hiking weather. I wish I did not work.
Right.
People don't even know. They like see me. They're like, oh, this is hiking weather for you. I was like, yeah, unfortunately, I'm here at work. Okay. But I envision myself out hiking during the week. It's like I'm planning or I'm thinking about that next hike. Right. The way I've also seen it is that hiking for me is very therapeutic. I already believe that physical activity is another form of healing for ourselves, as it like balances out our chemicals and our hormones. But aside from that, it kind of really helps our mind to be distracted of what we might be affected by. So incorporating social work into that, it's like the perfect combination. When I'm out there, I'm constantly reflecting about my day, about maybe something that has been difficult for me, and just how being out there really helps me to put it into perspective. When you're out there hiking and you realize how amazing everything is out there and it's just so big, and then I think about my little problem. I always try to encourage people to go hike outdoors, and they're like, look at me like I'm weird. I'm like, it's very wonderful.
So now in all your years of doing this, where would you say have been your personal top favorite places that you've gotten to hike?
I think, well, for sure the Oregon Mountain, like the I think there's so much there that I can hike, and I like it because it's really close to home, and some of the trails are free. And so I think that that makes it even better. Drive is wonderful to get out there, and I've had a lot of good experiences. And I would say probably my next favorite is going to be the Lincoln National Forest. I only hiked a few places there, but I have really connected with the Jordan Hot Springs Trail, which is pretty, I mean, it's probably my longest trail I've done, as long as I hear other people. But with the elevation gain and so forth, the environment that's out there, the scenery, how it changes, the vegetation, crossing the river, the whole experience. I would have to say first Organ Mountain, only because it's close by, and it after work escape where I decide I want to go do that last minute sunset hike, or when I like to plan to go out there, because that one just really gets me into this dreamlike state of mind.
Here's how we're going to close it out. We're going to do a lightning round. Okay, so I got 5 questions. I'm going to give you the questions, answer as quick as you can, and we're going to rip through 5 of them. Are you ready?
Okay.
Okay, here we go. Lightning round. Favorite season to hike?
Fall.
Fall. Go-to hiking snack that you won't leave home without?
Beef jerky.
Okay, what's one pre-hike ritual that you always seem to do on hike day?
Take my beanie.
Okay. What is your number 1 ultimate hiking soundtrack song? What's the song that would be your hiking soundtrack?
That one changes. I don't have a favorite one.
That's fair. Okay. And last one, top 3 tips that you think every hiker going out into nature should know.
Safety, make sure to have water, and let somebody know where you're going to go hike.
Awesome. Krys, thank you so much.